like everything is new.
Hi, my name is Sue. I have a very weird phobia. I am afraid of touching and even looking at belly buttons. I know it's silly, in fact, extremely silly, but it is what it is. The belly button that we all have is the thing that turns my life into hell. What do you mean exactly, you might ask? Here, let me break it down for you. 1, I can't touch my own belly button. 2, I don't let anyone, not even my mom, touch my belly button. 3, I can't touch anyone else's belly button. 4, I can't look when somebody is touching their own belly button. 5, and this is the worst, when I see someone whose belly button is exposed, I can't look at their belly because I fear that they will touch their belly button. They are all really bad, but the last one, not being able to look at other people's bellies, has really affected my life. I'll tell you why it's the worst in a moment. I began my story by saying that I have a belly button phobia, but some of you may not know what phobia means. Phobia is having an intense and irrational fear of something. Well, what's the difference between a regular fear and a phobia? Here's a good example. Let's say you're 5 or 6 years old and you're playing with a dog. The dog bites your hand, and of course you get really scared. After this, you might develop a fear of dogs. You don't want to touch them because you're afraid they'll bite. This is called being afraid of dogs, and it's normal, because it's based on a negative experience that you had. Having a phobia of dogs is a different thing. You might have a dog phobia even if you haven't had any bad experiences with dogs, and if you have a dog phobia, you'd freak out even when seeing a tiny cute puppy. Let me tell you how it goes with me. What do I feel when I see someone else's belly button? First, my heart starts beating really fast. I start sweating all over and I can't breathe. I feel pins and needles in my hands and feet. This is what simply catching a glimpse of a belly button does to me. If, God forbid, I see someone touch their belly button, then I go completely insane. I cover my face with both hands so I don't have to see what they're doing, but it's as if an invisible force makes me keep looking and I start to make really weird noises. Once, a friend of my mom's came over with her daughter, who is the same age as me. We were hanging out in my room. Suddenly, she pulled up her shirt and showed me her belly button. I got my belly button pierced last week. It was so painful but worth it. Do you think it looks good? She asked. While she was saying this, she was touching her piercing. It all happened so fast that I couldn't tell her to stop. My first reaction was to close my eyes, but I could still see the image of her belly button in my head. I clenched my fists and started making noises like a wild animal. I sat on the floor with my head in my hands. I kept making these noises as I rocked myself back and forth. When I came to myself, my mother was in the room. She said that the girl had run out from our house. Her mother had gone after her to see what was wrong. After half an hour, they still weren't back. If I were her, I'd be scared of me too. I'm all flushed just talking about it now. Obviously, I'm not the only one with this weird phobia. It's called omphalophobia. Like most medical terms, it comes from Greek. Omphalophobia is most common among women, and it often starts in adolescence. Mine started 2.5 years ago. At first, I didn't understand what was happening. In the summer, I often sleep wearing shorts. I began feeling uncomfortable with the waistband touching my belly button. I started waking up in the middle of the night because of this, and I realized that something was off. One morning, I thought, maybe there is a wound on my belly button, and that's why it feels uncomfortable. And I touched my belly button very lightly. It felt like I was touching my internal organs. I immediately felt like I was going to faint, and I blacked out. I never touched my belly button again, and never let anyone else touch it either, until the day that I'm going to tell you about. Unfortunately, this phobia affects my life more than you'd think. For example, I used to really enjoy taking showers, but now it's like torture because I'm always afraid of touching my belly button. I can't go to the beach or the pool anymore. Just imagining seeing dozens of belly buttons around me gives me stomach cramps. But these are things I can control. I can stop going to the beach, and that's that. But sometimes I come across belly buttons by accident, like when I end up in an elevator with someone whose belly button is exposed, or see an actor's belly button on a huge movie screen at the theater. I'm sure you'd pity me if you saw me in these moments, because I'd be having a panic attack. So how can I speak so comfortably about something that I'm so sensitive about? I keep saying belly button over and over. Do I not feel uncomfortable? I do, but not as much as I used to, because I've been going to therapy for 4.5 months. I avoided going to therapy for as long as I could, but it took a really bad experience for me to finally start going.